Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to TOA's May webinar. The topic for this month is the N-8000 IP Intercom system for schools. My name is Danny Jang, and I'm part of the technical support team here at TOA Canada, and I'll be leading you through the webinar. Throughout the presentation, if you have any questions, please write them in the chat box below, or you can wait till the presentation is over and ask me after. You also have the option of contacting me, Derek, or Bill for any questions you have by phone or email. So let's begin. So we'll just start with the general N-8000 system rundown. The N-8000 is IP addressable and works on existing local area and wide area networks. It is highly scalable and configurable, so you can tailor the system to fit your specific application. You also can monitor and control via network. It is also very integration ready. And for you IT people out there, it's bandwidth friendly. Less than 130 kilobytes per second is all the bandwidth the system will take up. It's also easy to maintain and troubleshoot via PC, whether it's through the web browser or the dedicated N-8000 software. The system is also ideal for retrofits using 2 or 4 wire, as well as fiber. As with all our TOA equipment, it's based on reliable and proven technology and designed for long life and upgradability. It is also CUL listed. Next up is products and functions of units most commonly used in the school market. We have our IP stations, which are masters and door stations that have an exchange built in. So there's a direct connection to the network switch. These are ideal if you need a station in a rural location, or cost is a major factor. Below you have an exchange-based system where stations are connected via 2-wire twisted pair. Up to 16 stations with any combination of master and door stations can be used. We also have our substation exchanges. We have our 2-wire guys, the N-8000 RS and the N-8010 RS, and our 4-wire model, the N-8400 RS. So depending on if you have a retrofit where you have 2-wire or 4-wire, you have an option of using either the 8400 or the 80. Here we have a block diagram of an N-8000 exchange. The exchange is connected to the local area network via a Cat5 cable. The stations are connected to exchange via 2-wire twisted pair. As you can see, we have different versions of our masters. There's ones with LCD displays, no LCD displays, hands-free units, ruggedized versions, wall plates, again with hands-free, or you can pair that up with an optional handset. And we just have an example of one of our door stations. Again, up to 16 stations can be connected per exchange. This example also shows how you can accomplish PA paging with the external amplifier and some speakers. Here we'll take a closer look at our 2-wire substation exchanges, the N-8000 RS and the N-8010 RS. Each of these units can handle up to 16 2-wire substations. The N-8000 RS has 2 voice links, as opposed to the N-8010 RS, which has 1 voice link. So you're able to, on the N-8000 RS, you're able to have 2 simultaneous conversations, as opposed to the 8010, which is the more economical version, as you can have 1 conversation going before you receive a busy signal on other stations. And these exchanges works with all our legacy VS900 substations, such as the RS150, RS160, the 170, and 180. These substations operate on a 2-wire shielded twisted pair. Please be mindful that it's only half duplex conversation with a master station connected to an N-8000 exchange. And the stations are the vandal-proof stations. The RS-160, the 170, and 180 are detention grade, so they'll take a beating in a school setting. We'll take a closer look at our audio interface unit, the N-8000AF. The N-8000AF connects to paging amplifiers, recording devices, and audio music sources. It allows paging from master stations and can play internal, external sources through station speakers across the network. Here we have a visual of some of the functions I mentioned in the previous slide. You can make a page from a master station, which can be heard through the station, any station speaker, as well as an external paging amplifier. We also show here the ability to play back a source, which is triggered from an internal clock in the AF box. Some security features of the AF unit is recording of conversations and pages. A page or station scan or conversation from master station can be recorded by any recording equipment connected to the audio interface unit. And only master stations connected to an N-8000 exchange can record paging or conversation. The AF box is necessary to access the following features: weekly schedules, which can be set in our dedicated N-8000 software, the timer function, simple tones and contact outputs. There's also a time sync function with contact inputs, which would interface with a time system. Time correction. The N-8000AF can be set as the master clock, and all units in the system could be adjusted to the AF. It also has an automatic daylight savings time correction. The AF box's weekly scheduler can handle up to 1,024 events. And individual events are assigned to a maximum of 16 schedules, so up to 64 events per schedules are available to you. Here are the different types of paging that are capable. There's selectable paging, where you can select certain masters or door stations that you want to page to. Zone paging, where you can set up a matrix of a certain group of masters or certain area that you want to page into. There's multi-zone paging, all-call paging, and emergency paging for those urgent messages that you need to get out as soon as you can. You can also program up to 192 paging zones, and depending on which mode you're in, you can do up to simultaneous paging up to 16 zones in unicast, where 100. Here are the different types of paging that are capable. Now we'll move on to our telephone interface box, the N-8000AL, which allows use of any standard telephone as a master station. As you can see, it's a pretty simple box. It's got your connection to the network, as well as a connection to your telephone and your power supply. Here we have a visual example of AL telephone interface connection. The analog phone connects to the back of the AL box, and the AL box connects it to our local or wide area network switch, which can be connected to an exchange, an IP master station, IP door station, and to our other special function boxes. Here we have our outside line interface, the N-8000CO, which interfaces with the ESL for outside line connection. Incoming and outgoing calls are possible to and from master station, including call forwarding. Here's an example of our N-8000CO box in action. As you can see, it allows an outside line to interface with our N-8000 equipment, such as our exchanges, IP stations, and our special function boxes. We'll move on to some of the integration features of the N-8000 system, such as direct select. Access and trigger operation can be done by pushing a switch on a custom designed contact panel, connect to the direct selection interface, the N-8000 DI, or via remote control software when there's a call from a master station. It also gives you the ability to select a station when there are 2 or more calls coming into you. On this slide, we show the direct select access control that is capable with the N-8000 DI. With some simple button pushes on your master, you're able to open doors, swing a camera through the controllable relay outputs on the MI or DI box, and which are programmed through our N-8000 software. Here we'll go over the response methods available in the N-8000 system, as well as the direct select. There's 2 response methods. There's a selective and sequential. Sequential is the phone, your calls will be taken in the order they're received, whereas the selective response, where you can select which calls to take if they're simultaneous calls into one station. As you can see in the example below, you could have 2 stations calling into, say, your head master station, and with a custom-made operation panel with lamps and buttons, you can select. You're able to see which station they're calling, and then make a selection on which call you would like to take. Here's an example of our camera control feature. For instance, you might have a secure entrance with a substation, and a call is made to the master, and when the master is picked up, it would trigger a relay in our DI or MI box, which will send a signal to the DVR telling it to swing the camera to the substation that is in use. So you can get a visual of the person at the secure entrance before letting them in with your door release. Here we have our N-8400 RS, which is our 4-wire substation exchange. As you can see, all of our 4-wire substations are numbered in the 400s. So RS-450, RS-460, RS-470, and you can have up to 16 substations connected per exchange. We'll now move on to some special functions that schools or educational institutions might require. The first one we'll start with is a 3-party conference. So if you might have 3 schools or maybe 3 different classrooms or offices within a school that would like to conference with each other, that can be done without any additional equipment. There is one limitation, though, that only master stations connected to an N-8000 exchange can join a 3-party conference. So IP masters at this time are not capable of joining 3-party conferences. Another function that might be a requirement of a school is scan monitoring, where you have a master be able to scan and monitor a group of substations. As you can see, you would have to initiate the scanning monitor function, and you have the ability to stop and restart, scan forward to the next station, or scan back to the previous station, as well as being able to speak to the substation by pressing the push to talk button. Some additional school features are the privacy function on the RS-140 toggle switch panel. When the privacy function is activated, no calls can be taken by that substation. This will be useful for when you're having maybe a sensitive meeting or presentations where interruptions are not acceptable. Also, something I mentioned before in previous slides, the time signal function, where you can have you can schedule classroom bells to alert the students and the teachers of recesses or lunches, or the most important one for students, the end of day. And the new RS-140 can be connected to a speaker in the classroom for two-way communication. We'll take a closer look at our RS-140 switch panel substation, which is one of our main components of our school system. There's two buttons, the call button and the privacy switch. The call button would be programmed to call a specific station. For example, the master station in the main office. And again, the privacy switch, when that is activated, no calls can be taken by that substation. And the calling in station will receive a busy signal. Also, you can connect a high impedance speaker to the substation, which could act as a microphone as well as a speaker to enable two-way communication. We also have the option of the RS-141, which is a handset to make your conversations private. So for all that I've covered in the earlier slides, here's a school system example. At the bottom you can see the master stations that could be located in the office, the principal's office, the security room, or the janitor's room, which would be connected to a switch that would interface with your substations for your various classrooms on your first level, your second level. Then you also have our AF boxes that would enable paging to the hall, the yard, the cafeteria, rooms that are not included, that don't have substations already installed. As well as you would have to have a second AF box to do bell scheduling for your recesses, your lunches. And again, you can see it. We have an MI box, an example where you can interface with the PBX to tie in with the school's telephone system. And a CO box to gain access to the outside telephone line. And a PC connected to monitor everything and for maintenance.